I have the traffic thing that where
Yeah, yeah.
where I'm like really concerned about pedestrian rights. And so one of the things I was thinking as we're like in the middle of nowhere, Japan, uh, and I see like a sidewalk larger than any in Taichung, for example, is like, what? Why can't Taiwan do this? Like why do our sidewalks like kind of suck here?
Hello, and welcome to episode 1 of Unfinished. Unfinished is a new show that's been in my mind for some time now. What it essentially boils down to is I go around the world and have conversations with my friends and with cool people that I just end up meeting on my travels. Just random things, experiences, stories, anything that kind of gets them going in life a little bit. I think if there's 3 core tenets that I have for Unfinished and what I want to be, one is I want it to be fun for both me and my guest, and hopefully for you guys, the listeners. I want it to be something that helps build connections. So the current aim is to do all the episodes live in person, because I just think that's a lot more fun for me and for my guest. Hopefully that interaction comes across the camera as well. And the last is just stories. I've always loved reading. I've always loved film. I've always loved different mediums of telling stories. And a lot of this is just stories from the lives of myself, my friends, other people I've met. We do also end up leading quite different lives. Like I travel like a nut job. A lot of my friends have been business owners. I've also been down that route. So we talk about everything from tech, business, career, life, travel, relationships, you name it. And I think that's what I want to embody with the show, is that unfiltered view of life in the world as I and my friends experience it. That's what Unfinished is. Episode 1, I started this podcast in Taiwan. And so you're going to see a couple of episodes from Collaplay in Taiwan, which is one of my favorite co-working spaces in the world. Taiwan is the best country ever, I swear. Go see it if you haven't. Episode 1 is with my friend Caleb. I actually met Caleb this year in January. We met in Taiwan during a co-working session. I sort of just stumbled across at Collaplay, actually. And we sort of just clicked. And then he agreed to come on this podcast after knowing me for maybe a day or two. You'll see from some of this that's very exploratory for it. This was the first time I think we actually sat down and properly had a long chat as friends. And I think it was just a lot of fun for both of us to experience each other's minds in that way. Because before that, I think it had been very general conversation. And like, it was like, oh, cool person. But like, we didn't really have a one-on-one deep dive into each of our psyches and sort of bounce ideas off each other. So I think this was one of the first conversations where we do that. And I think that that'll be clear. Now we're actually much better friends, I think, than when I recorded this. Recently, we attended another friend's wedding here in London, who's also going to be a guest on this show coming up in a couple of episodes. And he's also become a really close friend. I'm also going to be going back in October for Caleb's wedding in Taiwan. So a lot of that came out partially of this show and because we just clicked in that way. I'll stop spoiling the rest of it. I'll let Caleb and old me do the talking. I hope you enjoyed this episode. And I hope that you will tune into the next ones. There's some really cool conversations that are going to come up. So I hope you stay tuned. Enjoy this episode. Like, comment, subscribe, whatever else. Support is great, but I just hope you have fun. Thank you for listening.
I usually start it with a mini just improv skit for people who have never,
Okay.
just to loosen them up, right?
Okay.
I guess the ethos for this podcast is it's called Ordinary People, but it's just about life and journeys and whatever else,
Hell
because
yeah,
it's
man.
fun and you get to be better friends that way.
Yeah.
So I'm just using it as a way to make better friends and
Okay.
make content from it.
That's fun. Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
But yeah, we can do. You've done improv before, right?
Yeah,
I think
long
you
time
have.
ago.
Yeah.
In college, I was in theater, and
I mean, better than
Fuck
me.
that.
Better than me.
Okay.
I just did it for a couple of classes to help me reduce anxiety. So
that's a good strategy.
yeah, exposure therapy, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Sure. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, usually, I guess I just start people off with like the basic yes and shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then it's just, I don't know, give me 3 random thoughts from your last week, and then we just play with it and see where it goes.
Okay. So I should start with 3 random thoughts from my last week.
Yeah, why not? Like anything comes to mind.
Oh man. Okay. So let me think about what I really want to think about.
So you might want the mic close to your mouth.
Yeah. I had a lot of thoughts when I was in Japan about like what I want to do. I was making a lot of comparisons. I have the traffic thing where I'm like really concerned about pedestrian rights. And so one of the things I was thinking as we're like in the middle of nowhere, Japan, and and I see like a sidewalk larger than any in Taichung, for example, is like, what? Why can't Taiwan do this? You know, like why do our sidewalks like kind of suck here? Have the Cone Club
Okay.
and everything like that. So that's one thing that could be kind of a depressing conversation. I had something that I was really inspired by. So we went to the Nintendo store in Fukuoka,
Ooh.
and like, I never told you this, but I'm kind of boycotting Nintendo right now because I'm super mad.
Why?
I'm a huge Nintendo fanboy, and I've had all their consoles, but I'm mad at them for canceling or for like legally targeting two emulator developers, the Switch ones.
Yeah.
I can't remember the names of them off the top of my head, but it was just like infuriating me. It's like, dude, like the Switch is an outgoing console, and also fuck you. Why, you know?
Well, because it's Nintendo, right?
Right,
It's
yeah,
'cause it's
exactly.
Nintendo,
And I'm just
basically.
like, I'm done. I'm gonna wait for the Switch 2 to be emulatable, and then just do that. So anyway, but I was kind of thinking like in the Nintendo store, oh, I kind of miss this, right? But so I have a 3DS on me at all times basically, and I was
Nice.
like, okay, like I've got my 3DS on me, like, or if I have my Switch on me, we're in the Nintendo store, can we do something cool with this? Can we get like, I don't know, like demos downloaded? It's like, nope, you can just buy things here, that's it. Remember the old days? You bring your DS somewhere, or
Oh yeah, I remember like in Japan you had like I was always jealous because it's like all the Pokemon games and stuff. You got the shinies and the limited
Right.
edition shit in Japan.
Yeah, yeah.
I know you always had the drops, and I was like, damn, I want to go to a Pokemon store, a Nintendo store, and you get like this special Pokemon in this game
Right.
that I can't get unless I'm in Japan.
Right. So I feel that's dead, and Nintendo or nobody has any interest in pursuing that. So I had two new business pushes I want to try while I'm here, but they're extremely non-trivial. So the first is like some concept of Street Pass on 3DS, like which is now dead. It was so cool when
I had a business idea like that.
Yeah?
I really wanted to do this thing. It was called, I already mapped out everything with a friend. It was called Under the Surface. We also did this like 10 years ago
Right.
when VR was just coming up and it was going to be AR and Pokemon Go wasn't a
Right.
thing.
Right.
And I think Niantic's working with Kojima on something similar.
Right.
But it was literally going to be an underground tag
Right.
where it's like, you go around the world and people can just tag things, music, art, whatever,
Sick.
on the surface in the world.
So that was
And
like the
so-
original Niantic pre-Pokemon Go.
No.
Yeah.
Pokemon Go was more like it showed that the technology had use cases that you could do it.
Well, the first Niantic game before Pokemon Go though was like purely just like focused on the things that you were going to itself. I don't remember the name of it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but so with this one, it was going to be like you can interact with those, right?
That's
Like, and
awesome.
it's going to be the way I wanted it to be built is it's also scarce in that every week the whole city resets.
Oh, sick. That's
so then it's
cool.
like every week you discover something new.
Okay.
So it's like you go to a place, you go to a restaurant, right? And then someone like how in Dark Souls people
really
leave
cool.
comments.
Yeah.
So it's like
Yeah,
people can
that's
leave
really cool.
comments, people can tag
That's
music,
awesome, man.
they can tag pictures,
Right.
and then every week the whole thing disappears.
What became of this idea?
It was too expensive.
Yeah, exactly. That's the problem I'm having right now is like these are super non-trivial. I just read a post today that was like, oh, it's actually really cheap to code these days, at least to get an MVP because of AI, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, maybe, but when you could, so for me, it's like hardware. That's not trivial. That's still extremely non-trivial. Like,
Yeah, hardware is still.
But
still
for
hard.
an app, I would be down to like make this. That sounds fun.
I mean, I'm down. I still want this to exist. I would love
Yeah.
to have it exist. It sounds so freaking cool.
And
Like, I
with
love it.
OpenStreetMap and other like open source sources, we can probably get pretty far just on the available data out there in terms of filling it with like restaurants or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, the problem that I was facing, there was some stuff on the security side, because how do you stop people tagging, like, oh, only women live in this house or something for
yeah,
creepers?
fair. Yeah.
And then the other one was just with, like, if anything was moving,
Right.
how do you place it? Like, you can't place something on a bus.
Or bus route maybe, or like
Bus route, you
a
could do
bus
bus
stop.
route, or bus stop. Like, so that's what I was saying, it's got to maybe static
I mean, you
places
could
that
combine it
tag.
with public bus, like somebody does this for Taiwan. You can see where the buses are, like, on their route.
Ooh.
So you could just like take a bus number, tag it, and then I mean, you can pull where it is at any given time.
But again, so this
Yeah.
that's the thing, right? Like, that's a lot of data resource cost.
Yeah.
Especially because you're matching that with maintaining this database of things, right?
Right.
Text is fine, but once you get to images or music files or anything
Right.
else, you're just like this thing explodes.
Right.
Especially if it's consumer, because if you succeed, you're basically limited by success, right? 'Cause you
Right.
need more money.
Yeah.
The more consumers you have, the more expensive it gets, the higher the cost to run.
So one thing I've noticed between me, who can I build things, I know I'm like at least a semi-competent engineer, and people who have lots of money and successful businesses is like they never question themselves like I do, you know.
True.
And so
true.
I've started to adopt this idea of just fucking
Just do it.
yeah, just be as naive as possible.
I
and
agree with
arrogant
that. I
as
agree with that.
possible,
I think
you know?
I'm too British.
Maybe, yeah.
I think I'm just too British.
Yeah, you just like too down on the.
So
yeah.
I mean, this is my problem. Like, we're totally getting rid of the whole improv thing, but it's more fun anyway. My problem with the UK is around me, right? Growing up,
Yeah.
I was always in the American dream mentality of you can do whatever. That's the books I read, that's the media I consumed, all that shit. But when I was like, oh, I want to do startups, so I want to do this thing, my parents, everyone around me, like everybody in the UK was like, don't do that. It's bad.
Social pressure.
Right? Social
Interesting.
pressure.
Yeah.
And part of that just gets into your head because, like, and this is why I was speaking to Brandon about this yesterday, is like, I see the UK as the best place for American companies to outsource.
Really?
Because you get really good talent. You get amazing talent. Like, these people go to world-class universities, they get out.
Yeah.
And they are basically systematically taught not to dream.
Well, also the labor cost is super low there for some reason.
But that's
yeah.
because they're taught not to dream. They're
Really?
taught not like in America, it's like you can be anything, you can build, you can be millionaire, right?
Yeah.
It's all about money.
Yeah.
Whereas in the UK, it's a little bit more about like the stable life.
Right.
Our taxes are crazy high. The quality of life is kind of going down.
Right.
But like the people themselves, it's like they don't necessarily have much ambition to go beyond like, you know, I went to LSE. I know people in Oxbridge, the best unis there. Everyone wants to end up in freaking Canary Wharf in a financial company or in a consulting.
Okay.
Right? That's like peak if you've made it.
Okay.
The richest people that you find, or generally in the street, is like, oh, my dad works at Goldman, my dad works at this private equity, my dad works in asset management, they go to McKinsey, they're in BCG. That is what you get hit. There's no one that I know personally, and there's not that many people that growing up or just looking around are like, oh yeah, we built a startup and it became a $1 billion company or something. Right? That all goes. And I was there for YC thing. They did a startup school in London. And basically, it was, I think the founder, one of the founders of Monzo was there, a couple other guys with UK-based companies, and they were all just like, go to San Francisco.
Yeah.
Because they're just like, you know, I remember growing up here, and it's just so much harder because everywhere around you, everyone's saying, don't do this.
Right.
And that brings you down no matter what you do.
Right. I have two thoughts on that. First, how much of that is crab bucket? And the second is, you know, crab bucket mentality. Like, it's like a bunch of crabs in a bucket, and every time one crab tries to get out of the bucket, all the other crabs at the same time in their efforts to get him up.
Well, yes and no.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think it is this thing of like, we're social people, social creatures, right?
Yeah.
So what that means is we're still influenced statistically, and I think there's been studies in this. You're influenced the most by like the people that are around you.
Yeah.
So if the atmosphere around you is kind of a naysayer atmosphere,
yeah,
even if you're like, yo, I'm really bullish, I want to do this stuff, to some degree, you're not going to be at the same place of like what I liked when I went to a place like New York or SF was if I said I want to do a startup, everyone's like, that's so cool, we'll help you. You know, oh, I know this. I remember I was in New York in last summer, and I was talking about some ideas I had, like the supper club thing I run and a couple other things.
Fun.
In London, they're just like, what's the point? You know, I share this with my friends. Some of them are like, it's cool, it's nice, it's really good that you're doing that. But also, what's the point? How's that going to make money? I don't think that exists yet.
Geez.
Right? And in the US, there's like, I met this guy, I met him twice. And the second time, I was just pitching this. He was supposed to go home, and then we just ended up circling the same block for like the next hour, brainstorming and discussing
I love
this.
that kind of,
Right?
Yeah, I love
and
that.
I would never get that in London.
No, really? Oh,
no, I would never get that in London.
When I went to Cambridge for the last startup I was working at, that was something I was struck by. I was like, oh my God, I'm at like one of the best universities in the world. There's going to be philosophers here and people that want to have like really intense conversations about like, you know, what I noticed, first of all, everyone was smarter than me and more well educated, but none of them wanted to talk about that kind of stuff.
No.
Like we went to the pub and they just want to like just drink and kind of be quiet. I'm like, what is happening?
Pretty much just drink and stay in the head.
Like, yeah.
I mean, I think that's something that I've been trying to get out of is I know I overthink a lot. And I think part of that is because of my upbringing in the UK. And there's like, it's not Japan where there's, you know, in your face rules in East Asia.
Yeah.
And I think the UK and a lot of the West, it's like under the surface, there's a lot of rules. Yeah. But outwardly, you have this presentation of civility and a posture, essentially. Which I kind of the Eastern thing of just being in your face of this is what you get. Yeah. Whereas there it's more like, oh, it's working around the subject.
Interesting, like the unspoken rules or something.
Yeah.
The second thought I wanted to ask, now that I have access to a real live Brit, is there any possibility that is a remnant of like an aristocratic kind of tiered society, classist society, basically, where it's like,
I mean,
oh, you're not an aristocrat, you don't get to bring yourself up, like
yes, to a degree. I mean, I think that there definitely is, right? But I don't think that's limited to the UK. That's like most of the world. Right. It's like the richer you are, the easier you can get away with things, and you're almost like, oh, that person made it, like they're allowed to do what they want.
Certainly the old world, but one of the only things I like about America is that the mythos and the legend of America, which is a false one, is that you can come from anything and become a millionaire. It's technically possible.
I mean
that
that is what it was raised on. But I mean, so looking at my background, right? I was born in India, and then I moved to Germany, and then the UK.
Yeah.
And all of those, like even India is very Commonwealth influenced because of the UK, because of what happened, right? And all of those are basically just very traditional empires, and I think you still see that in how they have kind of grown and changed.
Right.
Like America broke off from that, right? It still came from the same seed.
I mean,
it just broke off into a different direction.
Like, the dregs of European society that didn't want anything to do with it.
It's like America got the dregs, and then Australia got the criminals.
Yeah, it's great, yeah. Or not necessarily free thinkers, but like thinkers that were separate from. I mean, I don't really agree with Puritan ideology, but their whole thing was we are different than all the other Christians in England, and
and I mean that's the thing, right? When you have groups that are different, that's always scary for like traditional people in power or anything else. And I think the UK is steeped in a lot of history. I think that's one of the problems in a way with history is you have so many restrictions based on your past. Because if I'm looking at school, right, what I'm taught there, one is I'm not taught at all about the British Empire.
Really?
Right? They don't touch the British.
In the UK or
in the UK.
Okay.
I never knew about the British Empire, like that kind of thing. Yeah. We went to ancient in terms of Rome, Egypt, and then we went to World War.
Okay.
That's it. That was
what
the
happened there?
entire
What
history
was
class.
missing a section? Yeah.
Nothing happened.
Oh,
the world did not change in that century. Yeah.
Where did the tea come from?
Who knows? Who knows?
Yeah.
But yeah, so like that never gets covered in school. And so it's like and I mean history is always selective depending on where you are. But in terms of how they shape it, how it's influenced, there's a lot of biases that just aren't exposed in the UK.
Right.
And then I think like I remember like going to school. It's also in our education system. You're not set up to explore, right? I had this discussion with another friend who was American about UK university versus American university. The thing with UK universities, one, like when we were 17, 18, we specialize already in school. So instead of learning everything, you choose 3 to 4 subjects.
Okay.
To specialize in when you're like 16.
Okay.
Right? So I chose math, econ, and I think physics.
Okay.
And yeah, I was an overachiever. I also did further math and chemistry. You're not supposed to, but you know, Asian kid.
Okay.
It did not help me. It actually burdened me a lot more.
Yeah.
But that's it, right? You completely lock yourself out from the rest of the world. And then the goal is after that, you're basically fixed. So then you apply to university, and you apply to university based on what you've studied in school for those years.
Yep.
So like, okay, I've done math and econ and physics. My only choice is I'm going to do a math, econ, or physics degree.
Yeah.
I didn't know anything about, and most schools don't offer things in more social science spaces. So there's no sociology, psychology, or any of that kind of stuff.
Interesting.
There's either STEM or there's some art.
STEM or dumb.
Basically.
Like the split.
Basically.
Yeah. And I say that as a dumb. Like, I studied creative writing
like,
in college.
I wish I'd done that, man. I would have done so much better.
Well, that's what I was going to say is 16 is too early to start deciding, making those decisions. I went to college for creative writing because I really wanted to be a writer. And when I first moved to Taiwan, that's what I was trying to do. And then at 22 or 23, I switched to software engineering by going to a boot camp.
Wait, what happened? Why didn't you stick with it?
I don't know if I'm a good writer, first of all. I think I'm a very good reader.
Okay, same.
I'm going to try it again. I'm going to take another crack at it. Maybe I was too young, didn't know enough.
Yeah, I mean, that's my life ambition is to write a book.
Yeah.
I've got my blogs. I'm working on them.
That's what I'm trying to do this year,
Yeah, and then this. So I'm like
this
content, podcast, blogs, and then we see where it goes. But that's my main thing for this year is I want to produce things. I want to get back into production mode because the last few years I've just been consuming mode.
Interesting. Yeah, the production consumption like split. I also think about that a lot. Yeah. You said a couple of things that made me think of a couple of things I have been thinking about that I did want to talk about. So, not to derail, but
keep derailing.
So earlier you were saying like something along the lines of, like the change like is frightening, or like the different things are frightening to people oftentimes.
Yeah.
But something my friend and I have been talking about is like if you can use life or evolution as a metaphor for other fields, then what first of all remains stark, very like clearly true is that diversity is critical to successful outcome. So if you take like an ecological argument, like the rainforest, for example, they have been trying to destroy the rainforest for a very long time, and it just doesn't stop growing back because it's so ecologically diverse. And so I like to think about like in what ways is it valid to apply this evolutionary or life-based model to other fields? So like for example, economics, like what does capitalism as an environment represent, and what is selected for in that kind of environment versus what would be selected for in like a socialist or an anarchist context. Like probably the most successful people under capitalism would be maladapted to other contexts. So hence why we were talking about it.
I don't know. Because I feel like the most successful people still have to be free thinkers. It's like the way I see society in a way is like the ones at the top, they're more in that polymathic state of being able to do a lot of things.
Right.
Because like you just have to. Right? Because there's so many problems, you're kind of going to have to be at peace with ambiguity to some degree if you're like successful and a leader in terms of business or in that kind of life.
Yeah.
Most people, though, I think the way that the education system works, at least the one that I've faced, is very, it's built in the old area of like the Industrial Revolution.
Yeah.
Of you're churning out cogs in a wheel.
Yeah.
You're not churning out free thinkers or artists, and like you're not taught to learn and grow.
Right.
And I think the people at the top, the very, very successful ones, are the ones that can sort of break the chains and can put learning first and grow and see how that shapes the rest of their identity. It's not usually just somebody that's just hyper specialized in one thing and has no personality.
Right.
Right? I think there's been a lot of studies recently that say the smarter you are, you're not necessarily the most successful person.
Right.
It is the people that actually take action and can
do things,
solve things. They can, see a problem, they solve it, or put out a fire, and they're okay and at peace to be able to do that kind of thing.
Yeah, you bring up a couple things that I've been thinking a lot about. So, first of all, like doing things seems to be more important than having the best idea. Second of all, like in terms of like, whether there's something different about the ones who are successful under capitalism, I think about that a lot because I have a general instinctual denial of great man theory of history. Something about it feels wrong. I don't know.
I agree.
Like there can't. So in the ways that I've been successful, it feels. Maybe this is just depression or something, but it's like there can't be something uniquely different about me. Like some combination of luck or if there is, whatever it is I have can't be so inherent to me that it can't be teachable or something that can be given to other people.
Yes and no. I think that goes back to me to the point of fit. Right? Like what distinguishes someone as successful is, and it's not great man. I think we, especially in this day and age with how tech is going, Silicon Valley going, it's like you're placing too much emphasis on the individual.
Yeah.
If you look at history, and this kind of goes into a religion topic that I also thought about a lot. Is before we used to worship nature, right? It was like a pantheon.
Animist.
Right? Yeah, animalistic, but it was also a pantheon. It was a number of people. Then all the sort of modern religions, Christianity, Islam, all of that brought it down to man.
Yeah.
Right? Even God became man with like, the prophets, with Jesus, etc. So it sort of shaped how both religion has changed. And that's what I'm kind of seeing in tech is like when you're looking forward and, hundreds of years ago, it was the collective built the company.
Yeah.
Going from the hunter-gatherer of like community elements.
Yeah.
And now with capitalism and everything, we're going to the individual built the thing.
Yeah.
Right? The God is Steve Jobs, not Apple and the collective.
And all the engineers that made the iPhone happen, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. That's interesting. Yeah, the collectivist versus individualistic side. I always want to know more about what happened to Christians in Japan. Like, how did that ideology catch root in a place that's so collectivist,
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, again, I think if you go to Japan, it's really interesting. Because I lived there, and it's like there's little pockets of. This is why they have such extremes, right? You have like the neat culture and everything else. You have like the extreme ones where they're just complete shut-ins.
Yeah.
And then so you have little pockets in like if you ever go to Japan, go to like Koenji. That's sort of the punk underground area.
Oh, in Tokyo or where?
In Tokyo,
okay.
yeah. So that's where a lot of foreigners go. It's like seen as an artist cultural hub. A lot of indie bands and bands that then became a bit more successful start in Koenji.
Cool.
So it's this very underground area. You've got like the bars and nightclub scene and everything else. And very weird, like eclectic people.
Yep.
And definitely some people that you're not supposed to get, anything in Japan, but you can definitely tell that people in that area have access to the good stuff, as it were.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah. So it exists, but it's definitely a subculture. Just like how in Shibuya you have like the gyaru culture, like the certain types of makeup and the dresses and stuff. Yeah. So it's seen as an embarrassment by Japanese society.
Yeah.
Right? They're like excommunicated. But I think it's because you have those pockets that even before it was like I didn't fully fit into this culture, and that's what you see with the Japanese Christians. Yeah. I think they're like 1% of the whole population or something.
Oh, well, historically as well,
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's what I mean is you're looking at the outliers. You're not looking at the mass, right? Those are the people that are, I guess, the free thinkers or the embarrassments to normal Japanese culture and society.
It's got to be a mix of people who want to be outliers. Something feels. So I see this a lot. A lot of people instinctively feel something's wrong with society, and thus they're looking for an alternative. And if they're males in the United States, young men, they can very easily be captured by like who's that guy that did sex trafficking in Romania or whatever, Andrew Tate.
Andrew Tate, yeah.
Yeah, they can be captured by those types, or they can be captured by like any given leftist YouTube, Hassan Piker, these guys, right?
Yeah,
There's like multiple directions of fringe groups that are ready. Like there's people who just they feel something's wrong, they feel different, and therefore they are
I think
into some other.
If I'm gonna like wrap it all up with the other things that we've spoken about in fear and stuff, is like society itself is fragmenting so much, right? We were talking earlier about, I guess, race wars and things like that with Bogdan, but like we're coming to a point where you had COVID, you had all these things that have happened, you've had the internet, you have social media. The world is more isolated than it's ever been.
Mm-hmm.
We're having a huge conservative push pretty much across the board in most of the world, right? Everyone's to our own and stuff. We had Brexit, you have Trump, you have all these things. So it's becoming this weird state where if we're looking at the past, and we're still biologically wired as we were, talking about evolution, things change, but our biology is still the same as it was thousands of years ago. It doesn't change that quickly.
We've gotten a bit taller because we're more nourished. That's about it.
But in terms of the inner core of us wanting community and like we are social animals,
so often ignored by people.
It's
so critical.
And that's the thing, right? Like, and there's a couple of different points that come to mind where I'm just like, oh, I'm shooting like too many things here. But like essentially what I see is like, because we're isolated, you're seeing all this rise of different labels, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, I respect queer communities, everything like that, but we have so many more labels to a point of like separation. Yeah. And some of these labels, I think people just throw around to be like cool a lot of times. I know some people that have.
Or they're striving for an identity. Yeah. It's like hard to find an identity.
But it's identity and community.
Yeah.
Right? They're like the more I label, the more specific I will be that somebody else can understand me. And then if they understand me, then we'll have a commonality. Yeah. And then they can understand where I'm coming from. I think that's the thing that we have stopped to communicate and actually have conversations. Yeah. Because media is capturing attention to a degree that our attention span is getting short, which means we can't focus on what another person is saying
I've got so long enough to listen. About that. Yeah.
And so what that basically means is you're just saying things. I think it's proven that like narcissism is on the rise.
Is it?
In the world? There's been a lot of studies on this, and people don't know how to listen anymore. Yeah. We don't have time in a day with how work goes, especially now with AI, with all the fear in marketing and media, and sort of the consumption that we have with TV and things that we consume. Right? Your Netflix binge is there. Anytime I'm bored, I just pick up my phone, I look at Instagram, I look at TikTok, I look at Netflix. Yeah. Right? Where is my time to think? Where is my time to go? Like before, we'd have tribes where people are going out and they're spending like most of their day just chilling and walking around the forest. Yeah. Now it's like I'm in my room looking at a piece of technology, dreaming about some fantasy life. Yeah. Even when I was doing that as a kid, I was reading books and doing that to some degree. Yeah. But I mean, like that social sense is almost being lost, and I think that's making the world a lot more depressed, lonelier, and trying to search out for communities that they feel like they can belong to. And that's when people go to the internet, which has like less regulation, less
weirdos. Also, it's like captured by people who are, for example, like the PRC, like infesting Taiwanese social media with like all sorts of bots and things like that. Yeah. It's not guaranteed who you're talking to is a human or they certainly don't have your best interests at heart.
Well, yeah, because I think it's proven, like, if you look at history, right, propaganda and media is the only way that you can change collective mindset.
Interesting.
It's like the easiest way. Like, you look at Hitler with Germany, right? Yeah. Like, he was a great marketer. Yeah. That's what he was. He was a great marketer. Apple's, like, whole thing in terms of how they did it, like, marketing is basically what led to their success. It was the messaging, right? And it's the same with, like, things like you're seeing a lot of Asian American culture, like K-pop, very, very clear example of Korea. 2000, it didn't exist. Like, I remember, because I went in the UK, I was in this school and we had a lot of like Korean students there because I was quite close to like K-Town. And at that point, it was just, they're a little bit embarrassed about their culture. They're like, oh, we don't have rice balls. It's like, oh, the food is weird, this kind of thing. And nobody's like, oh, these are the hottest people on earth or something. You look now, everyone's like, oh, yeah, Korea. Look at the boy bands. Look at the girl bands. It's, oh, I want a Korean girlfriend or boyfriend or whatever.
Such a cultural force.
The
Korea bushi. Banning. You're not allowed to look like Koreans,
Yeah, but that's like the last decade, right? That's from 2010s to now. It's like been a slow rise and then really hit stride kind of late 2010s into the 20s. Yeah. So again, that's all media. That's media power. That's media attention. Yeah. Same with East Asian American culture becoming so prevalent now. You have films, you have media around it. There's like a lot of talk around it, and then it's the Silicon Valley joke, right? You have like the white boyfriend, the Asian girlfriend.
Never ask. Never ask a white guy to race his girlfriend or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that's funny because I have.
I was like, I said that. I was like, oh.
But
wait.
To be fair, I moved from the U.S. to Taiwan with her. True. So it's kind of anyway. So what you're talking about made me think of. This is something I've been thinking about probably the most primary thing I've been thinking about the last couple of months is how does, first of all, an individual, but second of all, a community resist imperialism in all the forms that it takes. So, for example, like Taiwan is, obviously the most prevalent example. Like if the PRC came and the Taiwanese military failed to stop them and, they're occupied territory, what do Taiwanese people who are not down for this new world order like do about that? And so I've been talking about it to people and thinking about it, and I'm like, what is the most impactful thing an individual can do outside of assassination? Like, in what way can you change the world as an individual? So think of an example, like when Twitter started doing the verified, you can just buy a verified check.
Yeah.
Remember when a couple people faked being Lockheed Martin and like tanked their stock price like a couple $1 billion by which is like, that's awesome.
But
I love that.
I mean, arbitrage is a thing, right? Like people do that kind of thing.
Yeah.
There was like, I think it was last year because I'm in the games industry. It was a similar thing with Roblox. Yeah. Like some hedge fund in the US released articles saying, oh, they don't value child security, blah blah blah.
Tank their
stock for like a month.
I love it.
And then like Roblox is like, look, we have all this shit, and then it went back up.
I love that.
Right? It's market manipulation.
I love that kind of thing. I love market manipulation. Let's do more of it. But
you realize Trump is the one doing the most of it right now.
Well, anything that harms the ability of the American imperial like hegemony to like expand is like.
But I don't know if it is, because I feel like what it's doing is it's filtering out like the general public. It's mainly like
Americans are harmed by it. That part sucks. So for example, like the argument I constantly had with other leftists about the Venezuelan invasion by the U.S. was like, I have Venezuelan friends, and I was talking to them about it, and they're like, yeah, we fucking hated that guy. We're super glad he's gone. He stole an election.
Yeah.
On the other hand, you have a lot of people who are like, well, you probably shouldn't just steal presidents of other countries.
True. Well, yeah, but we're in a weird world, right? Nobody saw like from the Europe angle that Russia-Ukraine would ever happen.
Right. That was that was
just
very
like you wake up, because I was supposed to go to Ukraine, and then my friend's like, oh, by the way, my dad says that things are looking bad. I don't think we should go. And then next week, oh yeah, Russia's invading Ukraine.
Well, but yeah, so the idea is like, does the Russian invasion of Ukraine or does the American invasion of Venezuela help Americans? No, it doesn't, obviously. Like, in no way, like, American working class people, at most, they might have cheaper gas. Probably not, though, because it turns out inflation is not real and it's just greedflation. If companies can raise prices during COVID, they have no reason to lower them ever. Why would they? They can just have a higher profit margin when the prices settle. So, these things don't help the working class people in any of these countries. So it's like, it's not helping the Americans, or so in the case of the PRC invasion of Taiwan, it's not helping the Chinese, it's not helping the Taiwanese. Who's it for? Like, and since it's not for anybody,
it's for power, it's for domination.
So how do you stop that? So if you're a Venezuelan and you're like, okay, well, thanks for taking the corrupt president, but like, keep the fuck out of our country. We don't want to, have you exploit our oil. What can you do? Like, is it really such that like you have to depend on the machinations of a couple people in power, or like you have to take a shot at Trump? That's what it takes. Because I don't want to say that one person or several group of people can have that much power to where they can control the fate of so many people. It's a very illiberal, anarchist position I have, I guess. So I'm constantly looking for like an alternative to like, is an individual so powerful that / if so, what can a single individual do? Spike trees, cut tires at an oil factory, or so I emailed Cory Doctorow about this, and I was like, dude, like what? And he was very kind to take time to reply, and he said, you're thinking about the wrong way. Like, more important than anything, any given strategy, is community. So like community forming. It doesn't matter how good you are at like facing off the police at a protest if you have nobody to de-arrest you if you would get taken by the cops. So more important than any other strategy or individual is like, what kind of community can you form? And so that's what I've been trying to do like right now is like all the co-working events I've been doing form a community. I've got a buddy up in New York that's doing this in a really cool way. He's got like, they're doing this mutual aid thing where they they buy people's medical debt for pennies and then just like forgive it. Which is like,
that's cool.
And like, they're already having all sorts of disagreements. Like, should we call this, freeing, like, should we call it mutual aid at all? Because like, ooh, that's leftist and scary. Should we call it just like canceling, But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because they are now getting together, talking, having these communities are forming, and they're practicing having an impact together. And so they can start choosing new things. So yeah, that's what I've been thinking about.
No, I mean, I 100% agree. I think it just comes down to community in terms of like what you can muster, right? I think the creator economy is a great example of this, of why like a lot of capitalist people are kind of like bending the knee to like, these nerds on the internet that have their community. They're like,
Yeah.
oh, we want to market to this group listens to this person. There we go, boom, done.
Interesting.
Right?
Well,
'Cause it's
yeah,
a
what would
lot.
be an example of that? Like, I'm not too plugged in.
I mean, like you said, Hassan, right? It's very political charged.
Yeah,
so
true.
like anyone that wants that kind of angle, that's a very easy angle. It's like you just go to the creator, be like, yo, we'll pay you $1 million, just like send this message out.
Interesting. I get in a fight with those community. You know, ostensibly I agree with their values in so many ways, but American tankies, like, you know, do you know what a tankie is?
I've heard the term. I don't think I fully know.
So imagine, so this is a great example of like people who are like disaffected in American society and they're drawn to a community. So like ostensibly like the community of like Hassan Piker, for example, is pretty good. It's social for me as an anarchist. It's socialist, you know, often communist, but it's often Marxist-Leninist. So he goes to China and he's like, you know, he gets fucking arrested by the police and told to show his phone. He's like, well, you know, they didn't beat me. Isn't it so cool? It's like, dude, you just experienced a prime example of like what an authoritarian state looks like.
Yeah.
Why China is not communist. At the end of the day, it's not stateless. It's not classless.
I mean, if anything, if you go to Shanghai, it feels more capitalist than even America.
Exactly. But they're still apologists for this. So I get in fights with these communities all the time. It's like, okay, you call yourself an anti-imperialist, but you sit here and say PRC should be allowed to invade Taiwan. Like, but it's the only like community of any reasonable size in the United States that is like in opposition to like the capitalist norm, like the capitalist means, the overall zeitgeist of the American state. Everybody in America is a liberal, like Republican or Democrat, except for the new Republican fascists. They are neoliberals, right? Like they're all about capitalism. They're all about imperialism. Like that's why, you know, there's no real opposition party there. And so if you are a disaffected American, you have leftist tendencies, or if you're a fascist American, you're drawn to these like very niche communities that don't quite hit the mark on everything. Like they have, and yeah, to communicate with them, you have to like make so many concessions to them, and it's very annoying. Like it's so frustrating communicating with them that way.
Yeah. No, I mean, communicating with anyone in the internet, I think, is really frustrating because like everyone can just hide behind a persona, right? And it's like if it gets like annoying, you just leave it for another day.
Well, and there's so much purity testing, it feels like. So there's two examples of this that I've been really thinking about a lot. So the first was when Framework gave a laptop to DHH. Do you know DHH, the Ruby on Rails guy? So he's like, his contributions to open source are undeniable. He like made Ruby on Rails and he did a bunch of other projects. And lately he's been doing this terrible Linux project that I think is stupid. But it's bringing a lot of people into Linux. It's like a Hyperland wrapper that looks pretty and people are like so impressed by it.
Cool.
Okay, cool. More people, like, you should just install Manjaro and call it a day, but fine, like, you know, install his terrible version. But it's getting people into Linux, so I like that. On the other hand, he has an incredibly racist blog where he's just like, he goes like, it's so weird, there's no more Brits in London. You look around, you see no Brits, and it's like, how do you know? You're British? Do you look British? Like, he would say no, which is like, because he's fucking racist.
Yeah.
So, Framework sends him a laptop because he's got this new Linux project, and they get mega canceled for it. And
really?
It's like,
okay.
Yeah, and I'm in the threads talking to these people like, okay, you're talking about going back to buying HP, Dell, you know, these other companies. You have no idea what their supply chain is like. They probably have child slaves in it. At the very least, Framework is like trying to do more right to repair. They have, you know, repairable components. They sell all the parts you could need on their shop for reasonable prices to repair your own laptop. However, they gave a laptop to a racist. They give tens of thousands of dollars to other open source communities.
Yeah.
You know, like what's up with that? Like, it's like, no, you have to be pure. You cannot.
Yeah.
And so I tested this all the time. I'm like, okay, like, are you vegan? You know, like, do you ever take a car instead of your bicycle? Like, the purity testing thing is so dangerous. Like, it can.
No, I mean, I agree. I mean, that's what I was going to the point of labeling. Is like, I feel like we're at that point where everything's an extreme, right? There's no middle ground. Like I said, no one wants to listen. They just want to go vent. Like everyone's like so frustrated. With their life, with work, with whatever. They just want, like, the internet has become a venting ground for all your problems.
A venting ground, yeah. And it's like, and the anti-LLM crowd is a very good example of this because all they want to do is complain about, you know, like, factors of LLMs I don't like. Environmental impact, the fact that LLMs are trained on data that they don't really have access to. And it's like, okay, fine, but DeepSeek exists and it stole from OpenAI. You should love DeepSeek. It's fucking awesome. It's really cheap to run, and they straight up stole from OpenAI. They distilled their model off of that. Why don't you like, DeepSeek? And it's like, well, no, because it's still an LLM. Because
I mean, it's also community. They're part of that community that hates LLMs,
and they have to enforce their community boundaries with these purity tests. And so what this always brings me back to is like Spanish Revolution when the communists betrayed the anarchists. Like, I'm so terrified of that happening again. And in the end, what happened in Spain? It became fascist. Because like there was like, because people are at each other's throats. Like, they agree on so many things and they disagree on a couple key points. It's like, you're gonna end up like.
I mean, that's the thing that is becoming with what I'm saying with culture becoming collective to individualistic is like it's becoming about me.
Yeah.
Right? With the rise of narcissism, all of that. So it's like I have friends now and some people who are not friends now because it became too much like, oh, you disagreed with this one thing about me. Like I love everything else, but like you're disagreeing with these things. I don't like that. It makes me feel uncomfortable. Because then I need to be accountable or I need to think about this and I don't want to.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, the rest of the world is fine. Why are you saying no to me?
Right.
And then it's just like, fine, we're just going to get rid of you. We're just going to go over the rest of the world that says yes to my opinion.
So I have a theory that, so I don't know, I'm very Americentric in my thinking in some ways. So I think that is like this imperialist American, like neoliberal way of thinking has infected like every possible American on the internet, to where they're like, me. Like,
it's not just Americans.
Yeah. So that's what I'm not sure. Is it happening outside of America? So I don't know if I can just be like radical American individualism is the reason this happened, unless that ideology has come from America and spread out around the world. Maybe, I don't know.
Oh, 100%, right? Because like you look at it, American media is the biggest, right? Like we're looking at movies and things culturally.
Yeah, selling the
American dream,
the Renaissance hero, basically.
Exactly, the Renaissance hero. Like even look at like Marvel films and things like that. It's all about like the one hero that comes in, saves the world every time.
He says, "No, you guys are doing the good job." To like people who clearly did fucking nothing when there's just literal God among them. Like
pretty much. So like that's the media the whole world consumes.
Yeah.
Right. And if I'm looking at it like looking at India, looking at China, like the most annoying tourists that I have personal experience here faced around the world. Yeah, Americans are definitely one of them, but also like Indian and Chinese tourists.
Interesting.
Right? Like they just go. They're just like I remember one that like really, really pissed me off.
Yeah.
I think I was like in Malaysia or somewhere and it's like I'm in line. Like a good Brit. We get to the front.
No. Someone violated your queue?
Yeah, this Indian dude just came in and he just pushed in front and then he started speaking to the person. I'm like, dude, there's a line of like 10 people. I waited half an hour for this. What do you mean you're just going to run in and just like go and jump the queue to like get to the front?
It's coming to blows.
And I mean, there's this thing of, and I mean, I personally know this from my own dad kind of does that. It kind of annoys me. But I had this discussion once because I'd like injured my leg. We went in the hospital. And another friend of mine, Shah, he was over from Germany. And basically the hospital staff was like, can you just go away there?
Yeah.
Right? But then my dad gets agitated very quickly and he's just like, I need to get this done now.
Yeah.
So after 10 minutes, he goes back, he takes me, he's just walking me around different wards. And they're getting annoyed. They're just like, oh, this dude's just coming and disrupting the flow. They're like, fine, whatever. We'll just process you so that you get the fuck out.
Yeah.
So it's almost like it worked. So negative behavior, because it's disrupting the collective or the way people like it, because it's different to what they expect, and it's an issue, means that they respond faster. Dude. Right? It's how you trigger people.
Yeah, so I get it. I think about this a lot because it's like, that is how, so let's say you have like a very peaceful socialist or anarchist society where everyone's getting along, and then somebody shows up and tries to start exploiting people. Like, how do you deal with that? And it seems like a lot of people are like, just give him what he fucking wants. Get him out of here. Like, you know?
Yeah.
It works. Like,
it works.
So
it works.
Some of my friends are quite annoying about like putting their foot down on this kind of thing, but it's like, maybe you have to. Maybe you really have to be like, no, fuck you. Like, we will not tolerate you coming in here and trying to get your own way and not, maybe you have to enforce.
Well, yeah, because I mean, the world is for the masses, right? This is what, again, if we're going to successful people versus normal people, is what differentiates. The masses want to keep the peace. They want to keep the calm.
Exactly.
The successful people want to disrupt, right? And that's where, if I'm looking at examples, because I listen to podcasts and stuff about business and stuff, it's like the Stripe guys would go around with their laptop and basically just spam it in front of everyone and say, sign up now.
Yeah.
Right? And because you're just someone who's keeping the peace, you just sign up, and then they get a list of thousands of people.
Yeah, get out of my hair.
Exactly. And that's seen as and I've seen this with other people that do that with their Instagram or whatever. They just go up to people and just be like, follow. And then everyone's like, oh, look at this person. They're so cool. They're doing some amazing stuff. Like, they're lauded from like the VCs and the investor community, being like, they have spirit, they have energy, they're going out and doing the thing.
Yeah. So how do you punish that and how do you prevent that? Because
you don't, because it's rewarded in this world. Capitalism rewards that.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, if you didn't live in a capitalist society, how would you punish or prevent that? I mean, maybe Japan hasn't figured out where it's just like rigid enforcement.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I don't know if Japan's doing so
well
right now.
So maybe it's not working. I don't know. I have no answer. I think about that a lot, though.
I mean, I don't think there, because as much as that can be annoying, I think there is also a good element to that, in that those people still act despite the fear. Where I'm like, I also, there's an inner part of me that is like, I have a deep respect for the people that can do that. Maybe it's like been trained in through the society that we're in. But I have respect for people that can have the courage to disrupt against social norms and clearly label themselves as a clear outlier and outsider, and just be like, I'm going to follow my path. I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
I think the way that has been monetized in the world with capitalism society is not the best.
Right.
But at the same time, on the other side of the coin, anyone who's doing anything altruistic is doing the same thing. If you're building a venture or building a community, right? You're still going against a norm because you are building something that is not existent.
Right. Well, that's what I want to do, is then find out what is it that makes people willing to, in the positive ways, be disruptors, and can I empower other people to have this? I think it honestly might come down to some kind of arrogance or self-confidence, which could also be considered arrogance, to be thinking like, I am right to do this. No, the way maybe it's autism. The way other people are doing things is wrong, and we should do it this way, and I'm gonna do it my way. Your dad did it. He was wrong, but well, he was rewarded for it. So was he wrong? But like, is there a way to empower people to be like, no, you should have. I feel like most normal people do have ideas and do see things that are wrong, but they don't feel like they're confident enough to challenge the system, maybe.
Because again, you're scared.
Yeah.
Right. Like it's 100% fear. I think fear is the biggest limitation in the world.
I've got a friend here where I feel bad calling him out like this, but like he does seem to like take the. I mean, he's way more successful than me. He works at a large company, and he's kind of staying there. And I talked to him before about like the direct action I do, where I'll like report cars that are parked illegally, or I'll put cones around them and stuff to like. And he said that he was thinking about me when he did this. There was a fight on a bus, and he like yanked the guy off the dude on the bus, and he was like, "Yeah, I was just thinking about you." And it's like, yeah, maybe sometimes you just have to fucking do something about it, like. And I was like so proud. Oh my god, I was like, yeah, but maybe you do. So like, maybe there's a way to like teach people like, no, you can do things on your own, like
100%. I mean, I think you have I'm very fortunate to have some really, really like good friends.
Yeah.
And I think like we've both impacted me and them, our lives in significant ways. Like there's one friend specifically that comes to mind where it's like he was a complete workaholic, sort of like zombie person.
Yeah.
When I met him now, like, well, I knew him in school, and then like we actually randomly met up, just randomly in the city.
Yeah.
And reconnected, and then now we're like best friends. And yeah, like he at that point was a complete workaholic. He's like working 16-hour days, sleeping like 3 hours.
Oh Jesus.
Nothing, no time for life, essentially.
Yeah.
And over time, through our, I don't know, philosophical debates, all that, at the time, he also thought he was asexual and stuff. And like through just conversation of us hanging out, he's come to a point where now he's dating, he's like traveling, he has like time for life and other things. Okay. He's in my mind personally enjoying it more fully. But the nicest thing was like, I think it was like a year ago, and he's like, Jay, because I knew you and because of the conversations, like I start to now sometimes think like, what would Jay do in this situation? Huh. And how would he approach it? And I'm like, that was so nice. And same with you, dude. Like the way he's like, I mean, his work ethic and the way he approaches things. I'm always like, he's my easiest sort of filter to be. What do you think, Seb? Is this going to work? And he's always, this is why it's not going to work. I'm like, great, I'm still going to do it. But it's that thing of we've both seen the change over time, and like the fact that he also acknowledged it, like that was such a nice thing.
Yeah.
To hear from a friend.
So that comes back to like, what kind of influence can you have? I've been lately thinking like perhaps the most powerful like skill to focus on, the most important one, is rhetoric, which can also be called marketing. How can you talk to people in ways that like convince them to behave in a certain way? But also, like, maybe how can you live such that you can be an example to other people? Like, look, this is what is possible. I kind of have this thought of myself of, like, my dream for my life is, like, I'm not great at... I will never, I don't think, be successful on the merits of some skill I have, be it my writing or my engineering ability. There are just too many better writers and too many better engineers. So maybe then I can be, like, some sort of sidelines guy that just, like, empowers people who are better than me at these things to, like, really actualize. Maybe that's the role I can fill.
I had that thought as well. I'm just like, what if I just become like a mentor and just help everyone up? Let's just all go up, guys.
Like maybe I can just like through your effort, like prop a bunch of people up and help them actualize themselves. So how can I do that? I don't know yet. I'm thinking about it, but write a self-help book. I don't know.
Build community, self-help. I mean, that's partially why I'm doing the podcast. It's just like sharing stories,
connecting
community.
People.
Yeah,
connecting people seems huge.
I love to do that. Yeah,
both of us seem to be pretty good at it. For whatever reason, I once read a study that there's like social butterflies basically is an actual thing. If you draw people's social graphs, there's a couple people to whom most social graphs converge on, for whatever reason.
I mean, it's a weird one for me because like I don't necessarily see myself as a social butterfly, like in the traditional sense, right? Like I'm not an extrovert where if it's a group of people, I'm gonna be like, I hate that.
Yeah,
I like to get to know people like one-on-one or like in small, like more intimate groups, because you can have like I can't do small talk.
Yeah,
right. Like if you're talking like weather and this and that, and it's like surface level, like I get bored very easily, and I'm like, I don't know, I want to talk about like actual shit.
To be a social butterfly is you cut past those bullshit topics and you get to that. I don't like to talk about those things either. I like to walk to people and be like, how are you going to justify your existence under capitalism when your job becomes automated?
Yeah,
Like, I want to ask some fucking weird questions.
I mean,
and, like,
I think
really
that's more
understand them.
fun. I feel like that's more fun in life, though. I do feel like a lot of times that gets like filtered out. People be like, I don't want to think right now. I think this is the biggest issue I've had with like family, friends, and stuff. At some points, is like I'll go off on my tangents and I'll just keep speaking. And I'll just be like, dude, like just stop speaking.
Yeah.
Like
Oh, to you, they're thinking that?
They're just like, I just had a day off work.
Exactly.
I don't want to think.
So
I want to switch my brain off.
That's very beneficial to the current system and the people who rule it. Is like make people so tired that they can't like revolt. Basically,
Yeah.
they can't have revolutionary thoughts.
Because
They can't.
that is the work
tired.
life. That is the work life. At least how I've faced it.
I come between that because like I often, my fiance gets like, it feels like I'm judging her for not doing all these insane, activist things that I do, and she's like, I don't want to. I'm like, that's fine. I think it should be valid to just be like, I don't want to fucking do that. I want to go home and watch TV. I want to watch House and How I Met Your Mother, and I think that should be allowed. I think we should construct our society such that if people want to do that, they can. Did you ever read Walkaway by Cory Doctorow?
No.
I'm a big fan. I'm gonna drop his name a bunch, but it's basically like, what if Burning Man always? But also we have really good 3D printers and solar panels, so we can be a post-scarcity society.
Okay.
What were we talking about a second ago? Oh, so they're in these little societies that they start building out in the desert. They have a group of people who their whole shtick is they are the laziest people in the community. Like they're just like, no, like we don't even justify. We're not even like trying to like read and like better ourselves. We're straight up just like the laziest people.
Yeah.
And all we're gonna do is walk around and try to convince people to take a break. Just be like, well, because there's gonna be type A people who are like, they feel guilty if they're not producing. They feel like they're gonna go to these people and be like, well, you're not gonna be lazier than us. You're not gonna look lazier than us. So you might as well take a break. Come hang out in the onsen.
True.
And so like, it's ironic because that would go against finding a place for them in society goes against their very ideology. Their ideology is meta such that it's like, no, we don't even have this. Is not even our role in society. We literally are so lazy that we're actually a drain on resources.
Well, I think
it should be allowed to be that way.
I think it should be allowed, but I think even the way you framed it, of like, it's like, get a use for these people, right? That's a very like, yeah.
Right?
It's like, what's the use? How do I use these people? How do I? It's again going against the lazy aspect of just doing nothing. It's like, how do I use laziness to like empower everyone else?
Maybe we will eventually be enlightened enough where we don't need to think of everybody's role in society, but it does come back to this idea I have of like environmental niches and like diversity. Like, it is important to have people like that, or perhaps it is. But yeah, it's hard to come away from that mindset of like, what is the purpose of these people? We are always trying to justify people's existence.
Yeah.
So ideally, one day we're enlightened enough where we're just like, they're a person. That's all. They're just a person. Like, and therefore they have inherent value, which is apparently. I mean, I had a conversation that shocked me the other day where somebody said to me, like, do we really have to value all people equally? And I was like, what the fuck? Like, yes, right? But apparently, it's not universally.
I don't know if that's. I would say it's not really true, right? Because it's like we're biased. We're biased, right? Like, it's like even for me, right? Like one thing I've always had is like a friend hierarchy. So it's things like that where I'm like, and there's people that I'm like, okay, I've met this person in different places, but until I had a conversation and connected with them, they did not exist.
So the word value, I think we should just stop using it entirely. It's become to mean too many things. Instrumental value, their ability to contribute to capitalism or like be useful. Personal attachment, whether they're your family or friends. Moral worth, just generally speaking, as a human for existing, like, or maybe they're a bad person or whatever, like, maybe a couple other reasons. The word value is coming to capture a couple of these things. And so eventually that's what the guy argument meant. He's like, why should I value somebody that lives far away from me as much as my family member? He was trying to make a private roads argument. So that's fair. You shouldn't. Like, obviously you're going to care more about your family. And that's why, for example, we don't let you make the decision about what happens to somebody who murders your family member, because you're going to want to make the person killed.
Yeah.
That's why we make that decision as a society, right? Or maybe we do ostensibly. So I think the word value just way overloaded with terms at this point.
100%. I think this is sort of a limitation of the English language, is like, it's very simple with how many terms it encompasses, right? Like I had this debate with a friend about just friendship. Yeah. Because it's like, you have normal friendship, best friends, like acquaintance friends, work friends, like, I don't know, family friends, like so many different terms. Yeah. And it's like, there's so many layers there. Yeah. But the only word you have for it is like friend.
Maybe we should switch to German so we can just be like, you'll take the concept of like social friend, work friend, and turn it into one word, work friend, working friend, or whatever, Maybe we just need to
I mean you do that, but like at the end of the day, it's like, like with the way society's going, the way I see it is like everything's becoming smaller, like emojis, this kind of thing. It's like we're trying to minimize words to a point of not thinking.
I sometimes wonder if every form of media after the book was a mistake. Like radio, television, like, you know,
Yeah.
like maybe we should have just stuck with writing and reading, and that was just like leave it at that.
Writing and reading's
you know?
fun. Yeah. Keeps the attention going. You have things, but I mean it's like it's a different. So like for instance, I don't understand memes.
Yeah.
I just don't.
Oh, I got some good memes.
It's like I know a lot of people do, and like my friends try to explain to me. They're like, dude, this is like a whole language. It's like a subculture and like all this shit. And I'm just like,
there's
I don't
a
get
book
it,
about
man.
this. I can't remember who it was by, but it's like this guy. He basically communicates through memes. Like I think he's a famous television personality, and he communicates with like instead of saying like that made me feel bad. He's like, that made me feel that commercial where the person went outside and stepped on a nail, and that commercial. You know, like that's how the communication through memes. It definitely is a language. It's a whole, and I catch myself doing this sometimes. But it's not just that. Like humans do that. When we've been doing that for all of history. So my friend and I have the tomato story, and like we'll have a thing every once in a while. We'll have a thing. We'll just say just the tomato story, and we'll be like, you're right. The tomato story is where he used to work for this guy in Houston at a restaurant, and this guy's restaurant was failing. Like he'd never get customers, and it's like. Why? Because one time this customer came in and he was like, "Oh, can I get some extra tomatoes in my sandwich?" And Riley was like, "Yeah, no problem." So he like brings the tomatoes out, and then he goes back, and his boss brings him over, and he's like, "What did you just do? Like, did you just give him tomatoes?" And he's like, "Yeah." He's like, "You have to charge him for that. Go tell him you're gonna charge him for that. It's 25 cents." And Riley's like, I'm not gonna do that." And he was like, "Do it or you're fucking fired." And he's like, "All right." So he goes back to the guy. It's like, "Sorry, man, I gotta charge you for these tomatoes." He's like, "No problem." Leaves Riley a $20 tip on a $10 bill. Never comes to that restaurant again, right? It's like the tomato story. This guy is like nickel and diming his customers. But meanwhile, this is Houston. He's like, I don't know, like a Lebanese guy or something. What he could have been is like the local, you know, it's a very white town. Like he could have been like the local, like goofy, like Lebanese guy. Like, you want tomatoes? Here's a giant plate of tomatoes. Oh, you know, for free.
Yeah.
And that could have been his whole shtick. But he just like was so focused on nickel and diming. So whenever we see a business where we're just like, why is it failing? Tomato story. Like, so that's an example of like a meme.
No, I agree.
Yeah.
It's like it's the inner jokes, but that I mean I have that with my friends, right? But with me, what I don't understand when it becomes a meme, like I've had a problem with is things like fake positivity, fake laughter, or you know, like the personas. Yeah. And I feel like memes are almost an element of that. It's where the inner joke becomes something performative for the world.
Interesting,
right?
To maintain your cultural identity. To other people.
It becomes less about this is a thing between me and my friends. This is something I have to just do to perform for the rest of the world to keep up with it.
That might come back to the purity testing thing, or God, there's so many examples of that throughout sociology and anthropology where people are like, well, whatever, I don't really agree with this, but like my community is more important to me than, so I'm just gonna do this thing that I don't necessarily.
Yeah, and then once you push your boundary once, you keep pushing it a little bit.
So, a great example of that would be like racial prejudices and racist memes that persist within like communities where it's like I grew up in South Carolina, which is unbelievably racist, and I struggled against this constantly with my white friends who wanted me to like participate in these racist memes that they would be you know, they would say racist jokes, things like that. And I had grown up in Wisconsin originally, so I was like, that's fucked up, like, you know, every single time. And so, like, I was not as, I was called, like, you know, N-word lover because I would, like, be friends with black people. And it's like I was rejected from the white community because I would not participate. And I know for a fact there'd be guys who I talked to, I was like, dude, why would you? He's like, well, like, you know, everyone's saying it. Like, I don't want to look like, you know, gay or whatever. So, like, you know, it's like.
It's collective mindset.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, can we break free of that somehow? Like, how can we? So the Hassan Piker strategy is make it look really cool to not be that way, I guess. Like,
well, I mean, that's. I think that's a big shift with Gen Z, especially as I'm seeing, like, and it's that rebel generation when you're younger, right?
Yeah.
Where it's like, okay, like, I remember I was the outsider for liking anime, and a lot of anime was about, you know, anarchy and that kind of like element.
Ooh, you guys share anarchist animes with me.
I don't know. I mean, like, I feel like most of them are, because like back then, if you're looking at like especially 80s, 90s, 2000s kind of animes,
yeah, true,
right? Like they were the outsiders. The weeb, being a weeb or that kind of thing was seen as I don't know, what was it, otaku, right? Was a negative term in Japan. It's like bad, and then it became a badge of pride.
Yeah.
And now it's like, you know, it's in the main culture and everyone's like, yo, I'm an otaku, I'm a weeb, whatever.
Furries is another example.
Yeah. And they're like proud of it now.
Yeah.
Whereas like when I was in school, if I said, yo, I'm like a weeb or a nerd or a knee or like any of this stuff, everyone would be like, oh, gross.
Nerd is another example.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it wasn't too long ago where it was like you're super square to be a nerd, and then I guess maybe nerds started making more money or something.
Yeah, that's literally what happened. They made more money. You go to SF, it's like, oh yeah, all the rich Indian, Chinese, like I don't know, whatever, just everyone who's like doing tech.
Yeah.
Who's got that nerdy, the glasses and everything. They're like, yeah, now we're CEOs, and Jensen's wearing his leather jacket, and everyone's like, yo, I want to be that.
Fucking Jensen leather jacket. It comes back to like my idea then that the most important thing any individual can develop, or anybody that wants to be a thought leader, is rhetoric and marketing, which I guess maybe is an obvious thing to say, but I don't know. It feels like if you can market yourself, like for example, when my buddy went to jail, he was like a stringy little nerd, and the way you succeed there is to be like really fucking tough, right? Like be the toughest guy, and nobody will mess with you. So like at one point, like this guy was like threatening him, and like was like, "Oh, so I'm gonna do this," and my buddy was like getting back, and he's like, "You don't want to see what's gonna happen if we. You don't want to see it," and the guy's like, "Yeah, I don't." And he's like, "Yeah, because I'm gonna fall on the ground, it's just gonna be snot, and be bawling my eyes out, it's gonna be terrible." No, so and the guy started laughing. His niche was clown. Like he like found the rhetorical strategy. He's not gonna win on like toughness in this place, so he found a rhetorical strategy separate from that's gonna work, and he became like the funny guy in jail, and nobody messed with him. So like maybe it's always about finding that, like I'm very proud that for example, despite all the situations at like protests or things like that where I've been face down with people who really want to beat the shit out of me, I've always found a way to thread the needle where I'm like just like getting them to like laugh. Jester privilege seems to be like the most.
It is
the most like
we've been the funny
reliable,
guy. I mean, politically as well. You look at someone like Trevor Noah, great example of that kind of thing as well.
I don't think I know who that is.
South African comedian.
Wait, is he the guy that goes to like protests and like okay, I think I might know who you're talking about. Yeah. I'm not good with names.
He's really cool. He's really cool. I definitely recommend checking him out. He was on the Tonight Show basically. Yeah. He was what's he called? I guess commentator, leads, whatever.
Comedians?
He's a comedian.
Yeah.
But he has a lot of like political hot takes and things like that. But like he presents them in a really nice and fun manner, and so people like that, right?
Yeah.
I think humor is one of those ways. Like there's two ways. Like before it used to be, I think dystopia was a big element. If you look at George Orwell, that kind of thing, like 1984. Actually, that was one way that you could do political statements, and the second is humor, right? It's like it's dissociating enough from reality that like the people that don't want to think about it can just take a joke and it goes like they can let it go over the head.
Yeah.
They might know, but they don't care because it's funny enough that like they're like, whatever. We're just like brain dead. Right. And then for the ones that actually want to like hear, they're like, we get the subtle like understatement there too.
Right.
Right. It is that mixed messaging.
Comedy, man. Yeah. It's always in the spotlight, right? Like whether comedy's illegal, comedy's legal. Like it's always. Yeah, that's an interesting one.
Like comedy's there, and the other one for me was books, because I grew up reading lots of books, and then again it's like fantasy, right? Like you can write so much, like you can write general political statements in it.
Oh man!
But because your brain, because people can be like, oh, this is the real world, right? We're living in like Hogwarts, or we're living in like some alternate reality future. It's like this is scary shit, and it doesn't matter that's happening down the road, but like. It's dissociated from reality. I can take a step back.
Harry Potter is such a missed opportunity for like having really cool political statements, and instead the political statement is like slavery's cool. Shut up, Hermione. You fucking nerd.
Yeah.
Maybe so. Like Andor is a great example of that. That Star Wars show that
Andor was really good. Yeah.
I haven't watched season 2 yet, but people like talk or like what's the one with the girls with the red outfits? Handmaid's Tale. That's a book.
Oh, Handmaid's Tale. Yeah. That's
it's been out for ages.
I mean, that's a dystopia.
But they turned it into a TV show, and now like handmaidens are at protests and stuff. So it's like people really latch onto that. So maybe you really have to just be really like maybe you have to be a media centric. Like writing isn't good enough more. You have to get a TV show.
Well, you do. Yeah. I mean, it's a mix. I think you can still make change with writing. Like I know I know you're not a fan of Brando anymore, but like
Brando Sando.
Yeah, Brando Sando.
I mean, I can appreciate his previous work. It's just. I'm so tired of therapy fiction. Like, come on.
Sure,
man.
But at the same time, I'm like, he's got his niche. He's got it covered. He's making like this whole universe. You've got a lot of political statements. You've got mental health talk. So I'm like, hey, he's managed to cover his niche, and like he's got a huge following.
Yeah.
I think that there's a lot of this within like games, films, books. Like everyone still has their niche, and I feel like the world is like in a weird way going back to more like I got into vinyl. I know now. I just read a study earlier. It's like, oh yeah, Gen Zs are like going back to like iPods and like that
analog,
kind of stuff. Dude, analog life.
That was the other idea I was going to bring up at the beginning. Is like there definitely is a market for people who are rejecting streamer culture or streaming culture and like this like everything's DRM'd and all these streaming services. and so people are buying like old. The 3DS, his price has skyrocketed.
Oh
in the
yeah,
past couple years.
consoles, yeah. But
Everyone's
even
buying
more
games,
like I have now. I'm a big vinyl collection
Hell
listener.
yeah,
I
based.
have a film camera for
Dope,
things.
fun.
I still collect books. Like I cannot do ebooks. I still collect them physical.
Really?
Like
That's
I have
the
a whole
one thing.
library.
For
It's
some
like
reason,
that.
I don't. I also have a library, but my ebook library is like 30,000 books or something like that. All acquired legally. And like for some reason the convenience of carrying around an e-reader, I just can't give it up. Like because I read so many fucking books. That's like,
true.
yeah.
I sometimes I'm like maybe
But
I should go, but
I respect owning a large collection because when you go to somebody's apartment and you can like look at their library, and also I am happiest in a library. Like just taking books.
Same.
I love libraries.
Oh, dude. So like I've been in Taiwan like on and off for 4 years, right?
Yeah.
And this is just one of those small things where I'm just like, life still surprises you about the places that you think are so familiar. So one of the places I love is the Songshan Cultural Center. Right,
Cultural Creative Park over by
yeah. That place, I freaking love that place.
Just
like
the whole mall, or what part of it?
no, so they've got the
cigar
center,
factory?
the cigar factory with all the
Okay.
exhibitions,
Yeah,
and then you've got
that's
like the Knot Library as well. That's pretty cool and stuff.
I need to go in.
Oh, you need to go. It's super cool. It's very cool vibe. But not that. I always go there whenever I come to, because that's just one of my happy places. And I remember I came outside, and then I'm just sitting down because they had like a weekend market. They had like a tres leches. I was like, dude, I've been really.
I've done a market there, by the way, when I had the restaurant. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was telling what's his name?
Brandon.
No. Spices.
Alex?
Is it Alex?
With the guy who has the guy who has the spice
Yeah.
company?
Yeah.
Alex and Jane?
Fixin, yeah.
Oh, Fixin. Oh, Apong.
Apong, yes,
Yeah,
Apong. Yeah, I was telling Apong he should do like a stall there because I know like he's got some really cool spices. So I'm telling him he should definitely like do that.
I think he has done them. I've been to him before.
Yeah.
They're so exhausting. These markets. It's
Yeah.
Like grounded feet for 8 hours. Like
You just get friends to help you out. You get friends to help you out.
Yeah.
I think that's the thing that he's missing is I think he needs more friends to like help him and like collect.
I feel so bad asking friends to help me for free.
No, it's fine.
We had a friend that was critical to our help at the restaurant. And yeah, she like so many. It's just so hard. Like I'm such a fucking communist that it's so hard for me to take free labor. You know what I mean?
No,
like,
I think well 2 points. One is I want to finish the story, but
sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No. I mean I went on a tangent anyway.
Yeah.
But to finish, well, no, let's do this one first, and then I'll go back to finish it. I think people in general, like when my friend told me that he appreciated what I did, or like that he wanted my help.
Yeah.
Right. There was one friend. He was going through. This is like a thing of where apparently guys can't share emotions in friendships and stuff, and I'm like, that's bullshit because I have that with my friends all the time. But there was this one guy who was very closed off, very introverted to himself, kind of internally handled everything. Mm-hmm. And then I remember one of the big turning points in my mind for our friendship, and like we're super close anyways, but this was just like another level, was like he was having a huge issue with his wife, and like he didn't know what to do at one point, and so he finally called me, and he's just like, dude, like I just need to talk about this thing that's happening. And then for like the next 2-3 hours I just kind of listened, and like he just talked and give him advice where I could, but it was mostly just listening and being like, yeah dude, like that's shit, just empathizing, because like we just don't do that a lot of times,
especially men.
And well, to a degree I think I would say no, because I do that with my friends and other people do it, but like
would you say it is dominant?
It is not the norm.
Culture?
It is not the norm, and I think that's why I have really deep friendships, is because like I'm okay to do that and I ask for help. But it was like for him asking me for help, I felt so good and so trusted.
That's true.
That this person is asking and relying on me.
I never really thought about it that way, because I always go to the other side of it, which is like, are you the friend where people are like, oh my fucking god, fine, like you're a burden, But,
yeah,
but if you don't do it very often,
if you're not, I think if you're not abusing it, I think if you're coming from a good place, right? For instance, with Upping, I'm like, dude, if I'm in town and you're doing a spice shop, I'll spend 8 hours in a day to
I
go
love
help you.
when people ask me, like, oh, like, can you give me some advice for Taiwan or whatever? I'm like, oh, and I'll spend, like, an hour or two of unpaid time.
Same. Like, when somebody, a work person just messaged me being like, yo, I'm going to London tomorrow, like, do you know what I can do? And I just spend an hour just, like, writing him a bunch of essays about things he can do.
That's so true.
And I'm just like, I love sharing that, because that's, like,
I'll even do it for strangers. Hacker News people will message me sometimes.
Yeah.
Like, that's so true. Yeah. Sure.
Yeah. So I'm like, in a way, you're disservicing your friends by not asking for help when you need it.
True. Fuck. Good point, man. I'm gonna take that. Yeah. That's something I'm gonna take away from this. Songshan Cultural Creative Park.
Songshan Cultural. So, love that place. Like, it's just anyone who comes to Taiwan. That's my recommendation number one. Is just go walk around it. It's just such a cool vibe. But I came outside. This is like, I've been here for over 4 years. And I'm just sitting down eating this tres leches, because it's finally a tres leches place. And some I'll send you the thing. It's
love
called like
Tres.
Latte Bakery. He does like
love
alfajores.
Tres
He
Leches.
does
Oh,
tres leches. So he's
God.
like, I think he's opened a Latin bakery here. He's from Peru.
The only reason I look the way I do is because I have a total sweet tooth.
Me too, man.
Like,
me too. I was like, yo,
I
we
would
got
be
tres
so
leches.
fit.
I need this.
15% body fat, guaranteed.
Yeah,
Fucking
it's the
desserts.
same with me.
Yeah.
I've been trying to go healthy with hard, but yeah. I went there. I sat down. I'm eating my tres leches, and I'm looking up, and I'm seeing the same S-Light sign as I've always seen. And then for the first time ever, I'm pretty sure I've read this before. It just never hit me. It said open 24 hours.
Oh,
And I was
the
like,
bookstore.
the bookstore.
Yeah.
And I was like, I had no fucking idea that
Oh,
bookstore
shit.
was open 24 hours. And I'm like,
Couple of the
yo,
outlets
I want to do like a night at the bookstore, and then I'll get friends, and we'll do a night at the bookstore, and we'll just have a reading group, and we're just up till like 7
That
a.m. in
sounds
the
fun, man.
bookstore.
I'm down.
I really want to do that. And I was like, I've been to this place so many times. I've seen this place so many times. I've seen that sign so many times.
Yeah,
And
you
it
just
never
looked at
hit.
it.
Right? It's those little things
still
that just
here.
happen.
We still got time.
Yeah, well, a couple of days. I mean, I'm definitely coming back.
Yeah.
And that's I've got so many plans that I'm just like, there's that place. Then I also really love New Taipei City Park, the Metropolitan Park.
That's a
I just
big
love
part.
to walk down there. It's so
Good
nice,
lord, that's a
especially
big-
at
yeah,
night.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
great. They also have slides, so you can go on the slides at night.
I didn't know that.
They have huge slides. They've got huge slides.
I was just okay. I just realized this. I was just biking over there. Wait, was I? Is it on the other side of the river? Or
Yeah, other side of the
Oh,
road.
never mind. No, I wasn't.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Really cool park.
Yeah,
really
yeah.
cool park. Really good, like, walking zone. They've also got their own, what's it called? Lantern Festival, just specifically there. as
Oh
well.
yeah. So that's why. Okay, we just came back from the airport, so that's why I saw it. Yeah.
Oh
the
yeah,
huge-
because you take
Yeah.
no train. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
No, but it's really cool park. Because I think my second time in Taipei, I actually stayed nearby, and so every night I would just walk there, and I'd just sit down on sort of the top slope.
Yeah.
And I'd sometimes just go down the slides and play in the playground, but I just kind of people watch, because at night you just see different people.
Love people.
And I was just putting stories to different people.
Oh,
You
fun.
know, I was just like, oh, I wonder what.
I'm always
these
trying to
folks
figure
do.
that out. I'm looking at them. Especially love it in Japan when you can walk around. It's just like so
Yeah,
fun to be
yeah.
like, where you headed? You know, probably work, but like like what's your life like? Like
Yeah,
dude, there
yeah.
are so many people in the world. It's like this is another thing I want to try to make is like we'll be walking around town. I'm just like, especially if it's not the main city of like a given area, like what do people do here? Like that building, like how do they pay their rent? Like what the fuck, like I would love to know more about. I wish it was socially acceptable to just like stop somebody, be like, what's up, like.
Yeah. I'm really annoyed that you can't do that, because I've had it so many times, right?
Yeah.
Where I overhear conversations of like, I really want to say something, but I know, especially as a dude,
Yeah,
if I go up, and especially with women,
yeah,
it's a
that part's
very
hard,
weird
yeah.
connotation.
Yeah.
Or like I'm in a bookshop and like, oh, they're reading that book. I love that book. I want to talk about it, and it's like,
So, but
Ugh.
if you can hone your rhetorical ability to the point where it doesn't matter, you can find a way to.
I think if you approach it with confidence
Exactly.
and with openness, like, it's usually fine.
That-
But I think
I
it's
would
the
consider
fear in
that-
your head.
I would consider that a part of rhetoric too. Like, in what way can you combine your facial features, like literally every little aspect of yourself to make that work
Yeah,
out?
but see, this is my problem. Is I've got like autism basically, so
Yeah.
I'm just like, I don't know how to.
Maybe you
do
lean into the
shit.
autism. You walk up like, "Hi, I like trance." You know.
Ah,
like,
I don't know. My brain is too sort of wired.
Yeah.
It's too in overthinking mode and too much fueled by embarrassment and fear and stuff. That's what
Yeah.
I'm trying to train myself out of, and that's why I also don't want to be in the UK too long, because the longer I'm there, the more that actually I feel it. I feel it encroaching. It's like my life over the last few years has been really weird, because I've been traveling and jumping around different
Right.
places, and I really Taiwan for the peace and calm I kind of feel here.
right.
Whereas when I'm in SF or in London, it's like go, don't think, just
Yep.
keep going, like be on the rabbit, run, or else like you're gonna get left behind.
Yeah.
Right, and there's just no peace. There's no me.
Yeah.
It's just action without thought, which at some point you need, but there's some limit of it where I'm like, I want to be at peace and then take the action as well.
Yeah.
Without the repercussions being of like, I'm going to be embarrassed, I've got to behave in this way.
Yeah.
And so that's what I feel when I'm in London a lot of times. Eventually it gets, and I love it. I love it to a degree where I'm with people that, I love, and like in a community and environment that I really like. But at the same time, it's, the money thoughts, the worries, the way that people are around me. I have so much, because a lot of my friends, for instance, like they went to finance and traditional things, and I'm
Yeah.
just like, oh, they're married, they're
Oh.
earning a shit ton of money in JP Morgan or this
Yeah.
kind of thing. And then I know from my parents, even though they'd say, oh yeah, we're proud of you, it's like, oh yeah, but also we wish that you'd taken the safe path so we didn't have to worry. We've had
Right.
that conversation, and it's always there. And then it just ends up being this thing of, it's always in the back of my mind, where it's somewhere like here, because I can kind of get away from it because those people aren't here.
Yeah.
It's like I love my friends, but at the same time there is that side of it. And I love my family, but at the same time there is that side of it. That's just always present in a place like London for me.
Right.
And so I don't feel like I can be there at peace long term.
Right.
And again, with the government, I kind of hate the British government right now.
Don't
I hate the
blame you.
politics. I hate the taxation. The quality of life is going down, and like, it's a pain. I think London negativity is overblown on social media. I will say that it's not as bad as what a lot of people put, but the quality of life has decreased.
Same for San Francisco, by the way.
Oh, what, like the negativity?
People always like, oh, it's like, I mean, it's also like the richest
I don't know,
place.
man. I really did not like San Francisco.
Well, there's a reason I don't live there anymore, but like people are like, it's a fucking war zone. And it's like, no, it's not. There's just homeless people. Like,
yeah. I mean, I don't know. I like walkable cities.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, that's why I don't live in America.
Like, yeah. So London is still that. London, I can still like, I can get out of my house and I can just like walk around. Like, I know I need to just walk around.
Yeah, that's what I liked about London.
So for me, London is like the best middle ground. New York as well kind of fits, I guess. But London is a nice middle ground. If only, you know, like you could if it was like Taiwan, I could earn, I don't know, British pounds to live like I was in Taiwan. I'd be like, let's go.
Well, that's what basically all the digital nomads you're meeting are that.
I mean, that's what I'm doing. That's what I'm doing. That's why I'm here. I'm like, oh, okay, I can chill.
With the remaining time we have, we should pitch Taiwan to any listener.
Oh yeah. Let's go Taiwan.
Like, so what you were talking about with like for talking to people, for example, I was going to ask you actually, like, have you been anywhere that's like that? And then I was like, wait a second, Taiwan is that. You really can walk up to basically anybody in Taiwan and have a positive interaction with a stranger.
You can. 100%. 100%.
If you speak Mandarin, it's very easy. If you speak English, it's a little harder because they might be scared to speak English or just straight up
yeah.
But like, if you speak Mandarin and you walk up to somebody and be like, what's up? Like, I see that you are, like, maybe 99% of the time they're down.
100%.
And
I mean, I was actually speaking to a friend about this yesterday. So she was from Taiwan. She recently moved to London actually a while ago, but like, and she was actually saying Taipei, that's becoming less of a thing. But if you go to the south, like Tainan or anything else,
it's crazy. People
like,
walk up to you. Yeah.
Because like, and that has happened to me in Taipei. It would never happen to me in London. Never. Right. But like in Taipei, I remember I was in CKS with my friend, like, I think it was last year. I was wearing a red coat at the time, so maybe that attracted attention. But like this old dude just came up to me, and then for like 2 hours, he was just telling us about like Chinese history and like Taiwanese history and like, you know, Confucianism and all that stuff. And he was just going on these tangents and stuff. You don't get that in the West. Like, that's just not a thing.
I did have that happen to me once in the PRC with a guy that had served in some. I couldn't understand but we talked about that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, so this is the thing. I'm wondering how much that is from a fascination of an outsider. Because like when I went to Beijing.
Yeah.
Right. Not Beijing, but I went to Tianjin, and in Tianjin I was going through the old street, and everyone was flocking to me because they're like, we've never seen a foreigner.
Oh, I hate that part of the PRC. Man.
And I'm like, it's kind of annoying, but like they came to me and they're like, oh, that's so cool, and then they're like, oh, can we like have your WeChat? I've never made a foreign friend, or like, oh, let's talk, and then it's like, oh, you're from there, and it's like, oh, I went there, and it's this and that, and so everyone's super excited, and they're like talking about their lives and sharing that because they're like, this is just an outsider,
right?
And they're just like, oh, exotic, and I'm like, part of me is like, it's cool. But it's also, I don't know, I'm also a little bit like, I don't like being like a display item.
Yeah.
You know? And I think this is something you see a lot, especially with, well, I guess, ethnically different tourists in different places.
Yeah.
Is like, you'll have like in India, if you're white, you go to the south, everyone's going to come and be like, take a picture.
Really?
Yeah. This still happens in a lot of the cultural places, but even China, they're like, oh, take a picture. We want to be.
Yeah, I had that happen.
We want to see that. So it's I mean, especially as a white person, I think we go to a lot of the world, they're just like, take picture, you know? It's like,
I've got a white blonde friend that was just like fucking game.
Oh yeah. Like, I took a Belgian white blonde dude to India, and like he just had swarms of people everywhere.
Yeah.
And it's like, we want to take a picture with you because it's like, you know, like you're different, you know?
It's so bizarre. I think certainly, like interest in a foreigner, especially if they're a different race, is a big part of it. Like my friends, we did a Huandao, which is a motorcycle around the island, and they took at one point they like came up in the mountains where my fiance and I were just, I don't know, we had something to do, we couldn't, and they ended up in a indigenous township where there was a massive wedding happening, and like immediately they're just like made a part of the wedding, without question, right? But I have direct evidence that it's not just foreigners that experience that here, because I have a friend here who's like Taiwanese. Yeah. And he's like one of those kind of people that like, you ever find somebody when you're traveling that's got like a cardboard sign that's like, come talk to me. Like it's like one of those guys. Yeah. So he'll just do that in random towns, and people will talk to him. Like, and he's like trying to like make Taiyu like a really well documented language. He's got all these like projects he's doing. Yeah. People are down. Like
no, definitely. There was one project that I was thinking, I didn't actually execute on it, but I was like, I want to do this thing where it was like, and it was going to be in London. I was going to go in the summer when it's nice and spend like a Saturday or Sunday on like a park bench. Yeah. And I just have a sign next to me saying like, want to talk to a stranger, just come talk to me kind of thing. It's just like,
that.
and I just sit there, I'm just reading a book, and then anyone who's like, oh, I just want to speak to somebody can just come sit and like we just chat for a bit.
Yeah.
And I was like, that was like one social experiment I wanted to run. I didn't end up doing it because I was like, okay, I need a banner or whatever, like a little too much thinking. But I was like, I really want to do that because I feel like that would be a cool thing and just see who I meet, right? It would just be interesting in the city that...
It self-selects, though, usually for people who are down for that kind of thing. What I would love to do is find a way to talk to people who are not feeling confident enough to engage in those kind of situations. Like, oh man, I have so many introvert friends that I'm just like...
I mean, I think if you approach people... if you approach people, because I have an introvert friend here, and she told me, like, she met a few people over the summer that just came up to her and were like, we like your vibe.
Yeah.
And then started chatting with her.
Yeah.
And she was like, oh, that's weird. Like, I would never do that, but they spoke to me, so it's kind of cool. It's like the offer.
Yeah.
Right? And I think we're just afraid of giving that offer.
Yeah.
But I think if you give that offer to people, most people will want it. Going back to the point of, loneliness and lack of community is
true.
Most people will actually appreciate it if you make the offer to go speak to them.
I've so rarely been rejected in those kind of situations. Yeah. People really are down to just like, what's up?
You just need to, like, unless they're in a rushing, which, like, I think this is sort of West-East kind of, or more Mediterranean / warmer country climate way, I think of it. Because in London, people are always rushing. So I know people are on the street trying to speak to you sometimes, but everyone's running.
Yeah.
Right? Same with New York, same with SF. It's like you don't stop.
Yeah.
Whereas if I'm in European Mediterranean, Greece, Italy, Portugal, Spain, etc., or, here in Taiwan or Southeast Asia, people are a lot more open culturally. And I think that's part of just, like the community feeling, right? Where the West is going super individualistic, I think a lot of Eastern countries and even like Mediterranean and Latin America is more sort of family and community centric, just based on their society, based on sort of the culture that they have within that element.
Yeah.
That they're just more open to it.
Yeah.
And so you just have this thing where...
Hospitality culture.
The hospitality culture, which I think most of the world has, apart from
the Western world used to have that. I mean, the Greeks, the Romans.
No, the Greeks, Romans still do. Like the Greece and Italy still does. I'm talking like, I don't know, the Scandinavian countries, UK, Germany, the US.
They're supposed to have those other countries supposed to have their philosophical basis in like the philosophical political basis from the Greeks and Romans, but I guess
no, because I mean, it went too heavily, like you said, on the caste system and on tiering.
Yeah.
Right? Whereas I think a lot of, if I'm looking at Greece, right, one of the main things of what I liked about philosophy was like, coming from Socrates, is you just go up to somebody and you start chatting.
Oh, man, I would have loved Socrates.
Right?
Yeah. I would have loved to be Socrates. Like, just walk up people and just annoy the fuck out of them.
Exactly. Exactly. But that's what I mean, right? That was Greece. And then it kind of got deformed a bit in Rome, where it went more towards the power-centric view with the... Again, it was like, it wasn't just the emperor, you had the Senate and everything else. But then off that, we've slowly, like I said, in the West, gone to
the church and stuff.
Yeah. And then they started to oppress speech and like change things. But I think, so you saw that thing of ancient Greece still had it, and that's still, I think, there in Greek culture today, the openness. Italy, again, they have that to a decent degree, but you can see sort of the micro differences as you go west from there.
Yeah.
And how communities change.
It's such a shame, yeah. We probably should...
We should probably wrap up.
Yeah, because...
what's the time? Oh, 1:36. Yeah, we should wrap up.
Oh, it's okay. That was fun, though.
That was a lot of fun, man. We went everywhere. Still so many more things to cover, I guess. But yeah, it was really fun.
I appreciate... I always love to talk, man. And
so do I.
I appreciate you bringing me on.
Yeah. Thanks for being here. Do you want to shout anything else out?
My co-op, I suppose. We're always looking for engineers. 508.dev. So if you're an engineer that wants to work where your labor is respected and compensated fairly, come talk to us. Or if you want to, if you're looking for engineers to hire and you want the best price to output ratio that you can possibly get, then you should come to us.
Yeah, look them up, and also come to Taiwan. It's a great place.
To Taiwan. 100% come to Taiwan. Yeah.
Okay, we'll leave it there.
Okay.